Gadsden, Alabama's increasingly bizarre Senate race was convulsed again on Wednesday as 4 more women came forward to describe encounters with the Republican candidate, Roy S. Moore, and M.R. Moore's campaign sharply questioned the credibility of another accuser. The revelations and machinations came as Republican leaders pondered increasingly baroque mechanisms with the potential to deny their own candidate a Senate seat. But no decision was announced after party leaders met Wednesday evening. Also quiet was President Trump, who ignored questions about M.R. Moore's increasingly imperiled candidacy, which has been repudiated by much of his party's leadership. And so a head-spinning afternoon and evening unfolded. A series of new allegations surfaced. Republican leaders met behind closed doors before slipping away from reporters, and a lawyer for M.R. Moore raised an idea probably never before raised in a Senate race, that handwriting experts analyze a scrawled inscription in a woman's high school yearbook to see if she had fabricated the signature of a man now running for the Senate. But as M.R. Moore's supporters struck an aggressive posture, the candidate's troubles mounted when the Alabama Media Group and the Washington Post each published accounts from women who said they had interacted with M.R. Moore years ago. One of the women, Tina Johnson, said that M.R. Moore had groped her buttocks in 1991, when she was 28. He didn't pinch it, he grabbed it, Ms. Johnson said, according to the Alabama Media Group report. Ms. Johnson said she had been meeting with M.R. Moore, then a lawyer in private practice, in relation to a child custody matter. Another woman, Gina Richardson, told the Post that M.R. Moore had left her frightened after he gave her a forceful kiss when she was about 18 and M.R. Moore was in his 30s. Separately, Kelly Harrison Thorpe said that M.R. Moore had sought a date with her when she was 17 and he was in his 30s, and Becky Gray told the Post that M.R. Moore had repeatedly asked her for dates when she was 22 and he had returned from law school. Ms. Thorpe, in a subsequent interview with the New York Times, recalled asking M.R. Moore if he knew how old she was. "Oh yeah, I go out with girls your age all the time," she remembered him replying. M.R. Moore, in an open letter to the conservative talk show host Sean Hannity on Wednesday, flatly said that he did not date underage girls. Less than 2 hours before M.R. Moore released the letter, a lawyer for him, Philip L. Yorady, moved to cast doubt on the credibility of Beverly Young Nelson, who accused M.R. Moore of assaulting her in 1977. He suggested that Ms. Nelson, who came forward Monday, had lied when she said she had no contact with M.R. Moore after the alleged assault. M.R. Yorady also suggested that a purported message from M.R. Moore to Ms. Nelson in a high school yearbook may have been a forgery, which M.R. Moore's allies said may have been made using filings related to a divorce case for Ms. Nelson. M.R. Yorady demanded that Ms. Nelson and her lawyer, Gloria Allred, allow the yearbook to be studied. "Release the yearbook," he said, outside the state Republican Party headquarters in Hoover, Alabama.